Corvo must leave for another mission, only minutes after returning from his last one. His successes were seemingly unpredicted, even amongst his own allies. But with every enemy failed, the Lord Regent here in Burrows grows more desperate, more thorough. They must act quickly to save the lives of so many already suffering under Burrows' regime. Before night falls, Corvo must capture Anton Sokolov, the royal physician. The Lord Regent has a mistress who is funding his leadership, only the loyalists don't know exactly who she is. After decoding Campbell's journal, they learn Sokolov painted a portrait of her, so they need to bring him in alive. The royal physician lives in an apartment on the north side of Coldwind's Bridge. The structure was huge, a marvel of the modern age. Its style was definitely unorthodox, with huge steel beams stretching into the sky. Some might even think it was unfinished, its skeletal structure exposed to the elements. Samuel was forced to dock on the south side. Even with the setting sun giving him cover, there was no way he could avoid the floodlights. They needed to be disabled. On top of this, the bridge was practically a barracks, with the city watch examining passing cargo and pedestrians by day, and patrolling by night. What's more, Sokolov was an asset to the Empire, and would have his own personal army guarding his mansion. This was not going to be so easy. But nonetheless, Corvo got to work. At the south side gate, Corvo blinked his way past a group of guards who were being briefed on how to deal with those breaking curfew. It seems they weren't taking any chances, and were being instructed to use lethal force if necessary. This was madness, since when was breaking a petty crime punishable by death? Truly times were changing, but only for the worse. The sooner Burrows was dead, the better. Further on, more guards went about their duties. Their menial patrol routes were predictable, so Corvo wasted no time in getting through to Drawbridge Way. Along the way, he became distracted by the rantings of a madman. He spoke about the end times, the void consuming all. But what caught Corvo's attention was the familiar signs of the shrine of the outsider. The faintest of whispers, the beating of the heart of a living thing, and the ominous purple glow. He decided to pay the man a visit, or rather, the outsider. After knocking the madman out, he approached the shrine, where the outsider revealed himself. This time he spoke of Sokolov, how he had spent years trying and failing to see the void, to speak with him, performing strange rituals, scribing ancient runes, secretly exploring the dark magics of the void, all without success. If Sokolov wanted an audience with the outsider, all he had to do was be a bit more interesting. He left, approaching the steel towers from up high. Below him was a checkpoint. Guards had placed arc pylons across the ground level. These were more portable versions of the walls of light. Get too close and you'd be incinerated. Fortunately, Corvo was able to blink over these from his vantage point to the upper levels of the southern tower. At the very top, he found the whale oil tanks that powered the floodlights. After throwing these into the river, he knew the way would be clear for Samuel to proceed. The north tower was identical to the south. Corvo slid down one of the support beams before blinking to another vantage point, away from watchful eyes. There were fewer guards on this side, but it was getting very close to his target. He entered Midway substation, a large power generator presumably for powering the bridge. Getting through to the other side was challenging, but nothing he couldn't manage. He had to disable a wall of light to get through, but the whale oil tank was behind the large generator gears. Getting caught in those would not be pretty. On towards North End, Corvo came across a few destroyed houses on his left, one of which had been converted into a makeshift cell using the wall of light. There were people inside, innocent people. The guards revealed they were to be Sokolov's test subjects. Corvo wondered what sort of man would put his studies above the safety of human lives. He knew the royal physician. He often kept to himself, not worrying about politics too much, so long as he was given ample resources for his experiments. Even if these people would help Sokolov develop the cure this city so desperately needed, it wasn't worth it. These people had been rounded up against their will and pleaded for their freedom. But of course, the guards ignored their cries. They knew exactly what they were doing. These people would be given the plague, followed by dozens of numerous chemicals. And as they rotted away, Sokolov would peer into their cage to make notes. There had to be a better way to find a cure than this. Corvo knocked out the guards before disabling the wall of light that kept the prisoners in. They thanked their masked friend before fleeing. They were gone before more guards realized what had happened. Blinking to the rooftops once more, Corvo looked over the wondrous mansion of Anton Sokolov. Built onto the Wrenhaven River, it was a tall structure powered by water turbines and surrounded by guards. The ground floor consisted of a big open space where a few experiments were set up. Corvo couldn't make sense of what it all meant, but he saw a few overseers present. Perhaps they were there to ensure Sokolov didn't try to use any dark magic. The roof seemed more appealing as a means of infiltration. He could see only one guard patrolling around the rooftop greenhouse, which must have other means of entry. He loosed a sleep dart, taking out the guard, and blinked across the gap. He peered into the greenhouse, and to his surprise, Sokolov himself was there. Corvo snuck inside, hiding behind one of the work tables. Sokolov was recording an audiograph about his latest test subject. He talked about the people he killed as if they were nothing more than animals to be slaughtered. The Lord Protector had to remind himself they needed this man alive. His latest test subject had been locked away in a cage at the far end of the greenhouse. She looked awful, maybe only days away from becoming a weeper. She begged to be released, telling Sokolov she was feeling worse every day. The royal physician took interest only in her state of decay, reassuring her that everything was going to be fine. How many false promises had Sokolov made? How long did this woman have left? Corvo had hidden long enough. He crept up behind Sokolov and choked him until he fell unconscious. There was little he could do for the woman, but free her from her cage. She was still trapped inside the mansion, but at least it was some form of freedom. Corvo picked up the royal physician and carefully blinked his way to the waterways below Sokolov's mansion. This meant descending past the guards at the entrance, so timing was important. He met Samuel, waiting for him once again, and placed the royal physician in the skiff before the three of them returned home. He felt satisfied in stopping Sokolov's horrific experiments. Not only had he saved the lives of his test subjects, but Burroughs would no longer have access to new lethal devices. It seemed nothing could stop the Lord Protector. No one was unreachable, no object unobtainable. Thanks to him, the Loyalists had access to one of the greatest minds in the Isles. They were all eager to hear what the secrets Sokolov had to offer. Who was the Lord Regent's mistress? Who would be the next to meet Corvo's mask? Please subscribe so you don't miss what happens next.